Hi guys, so I'm going to be going through the solutions to the May 2024 paper 2, right? So guys, just remember to hit like and subscribe, right? Please remember to do that. So the first question here, we have calculate the value of 7.1 squared plus 2.9 squared and find the square root. So for this one here, we're going to just use our calculators for this. So that's 7.1 squared plus 2.9 squared equal, and then we have to find the square root. So when I work out the square root here, I'm getting 7.6694, but the question says they want the answer to two significant figures. So therefore 7 is my first significant figure, this 6 here is your second. Now because this 6 here is greater than 5, your answer for this one should have been 7 point, 7.7, right? That's the answer for this for 1 mark. They want the answer to two decimal places. This is going to be 7.67, because for two decimal places, we're going to look at this 9 here. That's greater than 5, right? Next one here, we want to write these quantities in ascending order, all right? So all you need to do is to write them as a common, you can either have all of them in decimals, right? That might be the easiest way to go. So this one is already 0.46. 47% is, so this is 0.46, right? 47% is 0.47, right? And 12 over 25, right? So 12 over 25, we can convert this, right? If we multiply this by 4 on top and you multiply the bottom by 4, you're going to get 12 4 is a 48 and 25 by 4 is 100. So that is actually 0.48. So what I'm doing, I'm writing 12 over 25 as a decimal. So this is 0.48, right? So now they want you to put this in ascending order. So the smallest one is the 0.46, right? The one after that is the 0.47, so that's 47%. And the one after that will be the 12 over 25, right? All right, next part here now, we have a ratio question. We have Mahindra and Jaya, right, shared 7,224 in a ratio 7 to 5. How much more money does, right, so 7 to 5 is the ratio, right? 7 to 5 is the ratio. Now, the money that we're sharing is this amount here. So therefore, what we need to do, we need to figure out how much does each of them get. So Mahindra, right, he will receive, so the total number of parts we have there is 12. So therefore, this is going to be 7 over 12, right? Multiplied by the 7,224. Right, so that's going to give me 4,214. Right, and then Jaya, she would have received 5 over 12. So that's 5 over 12 multiplied by the 7,224. And you're going to get 3010, right? All right, now they said how much more money does Mahindra receive? So all we need to do is to subtract these two numbers here, and that's going to be your answer. So it's going to be 4214 minus 3010, and you're going to get 1204, right? All right, next one here now. Part C, the present population of Portsmouth is 550,000. It is expected that the population will increase by 42% in the year 2030. Write the number. So they're giving us a number here to write in standard form. So we have 5, 5, 0, 1, 2, 3. And you want to write this in standard form. Your decimal point is actually here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your answer is going to be 5.5 by 10 to the power. Now I move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces to the left. So this is going to be 5, right? 5.5 by 10 to the 5. And they want to know what is the expected population in 2030. So the population in 2030 will simply be, now because you're going to increase by 42%, right? All we need to do is to say multiply, take 1.42 multiplied by 550,000, right? Now, there are two ways you can work this out. You could have worked out the 42% and then add it to the 550,000. That's an option as well, right? So 781,000 is what we're looking at. 781,123, right? So you could have done this differently. You could have worked out 42% first and then added to the 550,000. Next one here, part D, they give us a conversion table to convert between US and EC dollars. So part 1, convert $2 to EC dollars. So 2 US dollars is here. So all we need to do, we need to kind of read off this here, right? Now the graph kind of blurry here, right? But let's go with what I'm seeing. So that's about 5.4, right? So this is about EC 5.4, right? The graph is not that clear for me to see, but $5.40, right? That's what it's looking like to me. The next one, convert $70 to EC dollars, right? So 70 EC dollars. Now my graph only goes up to 10, right? So what that means is I can see that 10, right? So EC, $10, right, is actually equivalent to US, right? We need to read this off here. So that's 3.246. It looks like 3.65, right? I'm not seeing it properly, but let's say 3.65, right? So therefore, you want to work out for 70 US. So EC 70 US, right? All I need to do here is to multiply that 3.65 by 7, right? That's all I need to do. So in this case, it's going to be 3.65 multiplied by 70 divided by, and you're going to get 25.55, right? So that's your conversion there. So that's question 1. Relatively straightforward question 1. Laura needs to put a mesh around 2 seed beds to protect her seedlings. Altogether, she uses 60 meters of mesh. One of the seed beds is a rectangle and the other is a square. The width of the rectangle is X and the length of the rectangular seed bed is 3 times the width. So the length is 3 times the width, so therefore this is 3x, right? This is also going to be 3x because it's a rectangle. This is X. This is a square bed, so this is Y, and also this is Y, right? Using information given, derive a simplified expression for Y in terms of X. So you know the amount of mesh wire that you're using, 60. So all we need to do is to work out the total perimeter of the rectangle as well as the square. So that'll be X plus 3X, right? Plus an XX. So this is rectangle I'm dealing with here, right? Plus, you're going to add y plus y plus y plus y, right? And all of that is going to be equal to 60 meters, right? So let's add up the x's. So the x's here will be 3, 4, 5 as 8x, right? Plus 4y is equal to 60, right? So that's just based on what they give us here. Now they want a simplified expression for y in terms of x. So 4y is equal to 60 minus 8x, right? And we're going to divide this by, so 60 divided by 4 is going to give me 15. So this is going to be 15 minus 2x, right? So that's the expression they're looking for here. Next one. The area of the rectangular seedbed is equal to the area of the square seedbed. So the area, both of them are the same. Use the information and your answer to come up with this quadratic here. So basically, the area of the seedbed is going to be, so the area of the seedbed, right, is going to be 3x multiplied by x. So that's the area of the seedbed, right? The area of the, that's the rectangle, sorry. In terms of the square now, that's going to be y squared. So we're going to add y squared to this, right? So that's the total area, right? But hold on, let me see what they said again here. Oh, I just fixed something here. So they're telling us that the area of the rectangle is equal to the area of the square. right? So that means you're going to put 3x by x is equal to y squared, right? Now the thing is, we just worked out an expression for y. We had 15 minus 2x. So what we're going to do, so this here is going to be 3x squared is equal to 15 minus 2x squared, right? So this is going to be 3x squared, right, is equal to, now some students may have confused themselves here, but this is 15 minus 2x multiplied by a 15 minus 2x, right? So when you work this out here, you're going to get 3x squared is equal to, now 15 by 15 is 225, so this is 225 minus 30x minus the next 30x, right? What am I missing here? Plus 4x squared, right? Now, to finish this off here, I can just carry everything to the right side. So you'll get 225, right? Minus 60x, right? And 4x squared, so plus 4x squared, minus 3x squared, right? So when I work this out here, let's write it like how they have it. We're going to have x squared, because 4x squared minus 3x squared will give me 1x squared. We have the minus 60x, and then we have the 225. So therefore, we have proven what they wanted, right? X squared minus 60x plus 25, that's equal to 0. That's it. Solve the equation, right? So this is a quadratic we're trying to solve here. X squared minus 60x plus 25, plus 225, sorry, is equal to 0, right? So let's factorize this here. This is going to be x, right? All right, now, to factorize this here, we need to get two numbers such that when we multiply them, we should get 225, and when we add them, we should get 60, right? Now, when you have a scenario like this, what I suggest you do is to do a little division, right? Let's divide this by 5. So this is going to be 4 5s are 20, and 5 5s are 25, right? Break this down further. Let's say we divide this by 5, you're going to get 9, right? Then divide this by 3, and you're going to get 3, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use these numbers here, the 5, the 5, the 3, and the 3, in order to come up with my equation, right? So let's see, 5 out of 25. All right. Oh, so I just realized something here, right? So in the question, they said using the quadratic formula, right? So it means that this thing here is not going to factorize for you guys, right? So in this case here, what we're going to do, we're going to say, so A is 1, B is going to be minus 60, right? And C is going to be 225, right? So we're going to use a formula. This quadratic formula here is x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, right, all over 2a, right? So it's just a matter of substituting here now. So minus b is going to be minus 60, right, plus or minus, right, b squared is going to be minus 60 squared minus 4 by e, which is 1 by 225, all over 2e, which in this case is going to be 2 by 1, right? So this is going to be 60 plus or minus, I'm just going to work out this whole thing one time, right? So this is 60 squared minus 4 by 225. Right, so this is going to be plus or minus 51.96 all over 2. Right, so we have two solutions here. So one of them we're going to say 60 plus 51.96 over 2. That's going to be one solution. That's 55.98. All right, and the second solution will be x is equal to 60 minus 51.96 all over 2. And that's going to give me 4.02, right? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just double check our answers here with the calculator. A is 1, B is 6 minus 16, and C is 225. All right, so one solution is 55.98. So I'm double checking the answers here. This is correct. And the second answer is 4.02. Yeah, so these are my two answers here, right, for 3 marks. And they said calculate the total area of the 2 seed beds, right? So the total area will be, all right, now they said the two areas were the same, right? So all I need to do here, right, so we can work out 3x squared. That's the area of one rectangle, right? But they want the total area of the 2 seed beds, right? So that's like 2 times this value here, because the area of the rectangle and the area of the square are the same, right? So this is 6x squared, right? But we need to substitute a value for x. And when we work this out here, we have 2 values for x, right? We have 55.98 and 4.02, right? There's something here? Yeah. So in this case here, we're going to substitute. Let's see what's happening here. 55.98. Right, for this area here, I'm getting 335.88, right? But let me just check something here. Normally in a question like this, we'll get one solution where one solution is a negative, but we seem to have, let me see if they give us any information here that made sense or is needed. All right, let's see what happens here. I'm just going to work it out with the other value and see what happens. So that's 6 by 4.02. And this works out to 96.96. Right, that's all. I need to fix this. I didn't square. So this works out to 18,802, right? Now I'm just trying to figure out which one, right? Which one makes sense, all right? Go back here, 15 minus 2x, okay. All right, so here's what's happening here, right? So the equation we got for y, right, from this part here was 15 minus 2x, right? We got 15 minus 2x here. Right, now what I'm doing here, I'm double checking because one answer can't be correct, right? One of them had to be wrong. So in terms of the lengths, right, if I plug in the 55.98, right, you're going to get a value for y that is negative 96.96, right? So therefore, this value that we got here, this 55.98, we can't use that, right? Because it's going to give us a length that is negative, right? Whereas if we worked out the length of the square using 15 minus 2 by x, which is the 4.02, you're going to get a length of 15 minus bracket 2 by 4.02, 6.96, right? 6.96, right? So let me check something here. Right, so the answer, right? So the answer would be this one here. This would be the answer here, right? Not this one here, because that one is giving us a negative length, all right? So that could have caused some trouble in the exam though, all right? All right, so that's question 2. Third question, all right? Those of you who are in my online class, we did a question very similar to this, right? We have a flagpole FP stands on the ground held by 2 ropes. So the first thing we want to get is the height FP, that's this length here, right? So we want the opposite and we have hypotenuse, so we're going to use sine. So we're going to say sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse, right? So therefore sine 38 is equal to FP all over the hypotenuse, which is 18. So if you want to get FP, we're just going to cross multiply. So this by this is equal to this by this. So therefore FP is simply going to be 18 multiplied by sine 38 and you're going to get 11.1 around there, right? 11.1 meters, right? So that's the height of the flagpole. The next part, we want to find the length of one of the pieces of the rope used to hold the flag. So we want to work out this length here. So if this is 11.1, right, we're going to use Pythagoras' theorem, right? So this is going to be, so PR, right, is simply going to be equal to 11.1 squared, right, plus 9.7 squared. And we're going to find the square root, and that's going to give us PR. So that's 11.1 squared plus 9.7 squared, second function, square root, and we're going to get about 14.7 as the length of the rope, 14.7 meters, right? Next thing here now, in the diagram here, right, we have PQ parallel to MN, LRT is an isosceles triangle. LRT is isosceles, right? Now let's see, they didn't tell us which lengths are the isosceles though. Anyways, they want us to work out the value of x. So based on the fact that this angle here is alternate with this angle here, right? So we know that angle, right? All I need to do, I need to figure out this angle here. But the problem is they have not told me which lengths are equal, right? So this is a little... LRT is isosceles, right? So they haven't given us anything here, right, in terms of which lengths are equal. They didn't say if this length was equal to this length, right? So I'm going to make an assumption here. I'm going to assume this length is equal to this length, right? And that means that this angle here and this angle here will be the same, right? So let's work out what that angle should be. So that's going to be 180 degrees minus 28, right? And we're going to divide that by 2. So that's going to give us 76, right? So this is going to be 76 degrees, right? So this angle here is 76 degrees. So all I need to do to get the value of x, right? X is simply going to be 76 degrees plus 28. You're going to get 104. Right? So this angle here should be 104 degrees, right? So we made an assumption here because they didn't tell us, all they said it's an isosceles triangle, but they didn't tell us which sides were equal, right? The diagram shows a shape T and its image Q after transformation. What they want here, describe fully the transformation that maps T onto Q, right? Now if you all look at this carefully here, right, this is actually a reflection in this particular line here, right? This line here is your line y is equal to x, right? So therefore it's a reflection in the line y is equal to x, right? So that's the answer for that. You need to see it's a reflection and you need to indicate what is the reflection of that line, right? Or what is the mirror line, sorry. Second part here, on the diagram, draw the shape of T after it undergoes a translation minus 1/6. So T as this, and the translation is minus 1/6, right? So therefore, you're going to shift 1 to the left. So let's start with this point here. You're going to shift 1 to the left. So you're going to come here. And then we're going to go up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So this is going to be this point here. So once you know that point, it's easy to draw that trapezium here. So you're going to go here. We're going to go up by 2. Right? And we're going to come here. And this here is going to be your image. And they said to call it what? Call it M. Right? So this here is your M. Right? So this here is where the image is going to be after the translation. Right? Next thing they want here. Oh, that's it. That's it for the third question, right? This is question 4. PQRS is a diagonal. PQRS, sorry, is a rectangle, and it has a diagonal PR. We want to calculate the length PR, right? So again, there's a formula for this. So the point P is minus 310, right? The point Q, right, is 4, negative 4, right? So what you need to do is to label those 2 points, first of all, before using the formula. So let's call this x1, y1, call this x2, y2, right? So we're going to use our formula to find length. So the length formula, right? So PQ, the formula is x2 minus x1 squared, all right, plus y2 minus y1 squared, right? And we find the square root. All right, so we're just going to substitute here. So this is going to be x2, my x2 is 4. So it's 4 minus 3 squared, plus y2, which is minus 4, right, minus 10, and you're squaring that, and you find the square root, right? So this is going to be 4 plus 3, that's 7 squared, plus minus 14 squared, square root, right? So we just use a calculator for that. So that's going to be 49. That's 245. Square root of 245 is going to be 15.7, right? 15.7, and it's a length, so it has to be units, right? So that's your answer for part 1. That's the length of PR. Next thing we want is the equation of PR. So if you want to get the equation of PR, the first thing we need is to find the gradient of PR. So the gradient is going to be y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So again, we're just going to substitute into the formula. So this is going to be y2 is minus 4 minus 10 all over x2 minus x1, which is 4 minus 3. So this is going to be minus 14 over 4 plus 3, that's 7. So when you work this out, you're going to get negative 2, right? So what that tells you is that the equation is y is equal to negative 2x plus c. And what we need to do, we need to figure out what c is, right? So to figure out c, we can use any one of the points, either p or q, in order to work it out, right? So let's say we use the point p, which is minus 310. I'm going to just plug in. So this is your x and this is your y. So you're going to plug that into the equation. So you'll get 10 is equal to minus 2 by minus 3 plus c. So this is going to be 10 is equal to positive 6 plus c. So therefore c is equal to 4, right? So therefore the equation of this line they're talking about here is minus 2x plus 4, right? So that's A part 1 and 2. All right. Next part here we have two functions. The first thing they want, okay, so this one could have been a little tricky for some people, right? So f of x is 3x plus 1, right? And we want to find f x minus 2. So therefore, what we're doing here, we're substituting x minus 2 into our equation. So this is be x minus 2 plus 1. If I remove the brackets, I'm going to get 3x minus 6 plus 1. Simplify this further, we get 3x minus 6 plus 1 is minus 5, right? So that's the answer for part 1. Part 2, what do we have here? We have to work out, so g of x is equal to x squared, right? And we want to work out g of 3x plus 2 plus 10, right? So what we're doing here, we're going to substitute 3x plus 2 into our equation. So this is going to be 3x plus 2 squared plus 10, right? Right. Do they want us to simplify this? We can if we want. Let me just see how many marks they give them for this here. All right, that's only 2 marks, right? So you could either leave your answer like that, or you could decide to simplify it, in which case it's going to be 9x squared plus 12x plus 4 plus 10, right? That's if you want to simplify it. You can, you don't have to, right? In which case this is going to be 9x squared plus 12x plus 14, right? But you could stop there if you want, that's fine. Next part, part A. So they have a spelling test here. Table shows the number of words out of 10 that each student spelled correctly, right? They want us to work out the mode. So the mode is the one that occurs most frequently. So you go to your frequency. So you're looking at this row here. So the highest frequency is 8. So that means the number of words spelled correctly will be 5, right? 5 occurs the most often. The median now, in a table like this, some students have challenges with this. So the first thing I need to figure out is how many students do we have. So we're going to add up all of this here. So that's 8 and 4 is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19. That's 23, right? I'm getting a total of 23 students here, right? Let's double check that, make sure that's correct. 8 and 4 is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 20, 20. Yeah, 23 students. So you want to get the median. So therefore 23 is an odd number. So we expect to get an exact middle, right? We expect to get an exact middle. So we have our first student here. We have our 23rd student here, right? So 23 divided by 2 is going to be 11, right? So what that means is that our 11th child is going to be here, right? This is going to be your 12th. This is going to be your 13th, right? So that's 11, 11, 22, right? So what we're looking for here, we are looking for our 12th child. We're looking to see how many words did the 12th child spell correctly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the table. So this is 8 kids we accounted for. So 8 of them spelled 5 words correctly. When we add this frequency here now, we have a total of 12 students accounted for. So our 12th child actually spelled 6 words correctly. So the median, right, is going to be 6, right? That's going to be the median. Right? What else they want now? They want us to calculate the mean. Oh, that's straightforward. So let's call this X. Let's call this F. So we need to create a new row here, and let's call that XF. So we're going to say 8 5s are 40, 6 4s are 24, right? 7 2s are 14, 8 2s are 16, 9 3s are 27, 10 4s are 40. So in order to calculate the mean, we need sigma F which we know was 23. But again, let me double check. 8 and 4, 12, 13, 14, 56. Yeah, 23, right? We have 23, right? And we need to also figure out what is sigma xf. So we're adding up this row here. So that'll be 40 plus 24 plus 14 plus 16 plus 27 plus 40, right? You get 161. And me, I always like to double check, right? So 40 plus 24 plus 14 plus 16 plus 27 plus 14, all right? Yeah, I get 161. So if you want to work out the mean, so x bar is sigma xf over sigma f, right? In this case, it is 161 over 23. And we're going to get 7, right? So that's our mean here. The mean is 7, right? So guys, if you do like my solutions, please hit like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, right? Next one here. So I didn't expect them to bring a cumulative frequency curve, but like you all saw in the live last night, I gave you all one last night, all right? So this one here, the attendance officer at a particular school recorded the time in minutes taken by each student in a group to travel to school. So the data below is shown in a cumulative frequency curve, right? Using a cumulative frequency curve, find and estimate the number of students who took at most. Now you see these word in here. Whenever you see at most, it means 32 or less. That's what that means. So at most, we're looking for 32 minutes. So let me get some lines here on this diagram. Just now. All right, so we're looking for where is 32. So 32 is around here, all right, and that corresponds to a graph a little blurry, right? So let's say that's about, I gotta watch your scale too, eh? You have 20 divided by 5. So every small line actually represents 4. So you gotta be careful with this one here, right? So according to the graph here, right, it looks like around here. So that's a mark just before the 60, right? So that's going to be 56 students, right? So this one here looks like 56 students based on the graph, right? So that's part one. Second one here, they want the interquartile range. So to get the interquartile range, right, we need to know what is our Q3, right, minus our Q1, right? Now let's see how many. Okay, so this one here, they gave us 220. First time I see them give a number like that. So we need to figure out what is Q3. So that's your upper quartile. So we're going to say 3/4 multiplied by 220. All right, now this is an estimate here. I know some people will use the formula n plus 1. That's fine. So that's 0.75 multiplied by 220. You're going to get 165, right? 165. Now 165 is not the answer. What I need to do, I need to go to the graph here. Right? I need to go to the graph here and I need to read off at 165, right? So 165, that's 164 where I'm at right now, right? That's a marker just before. So that's about here, right? That's about here. Now, what I need to do now, I need to read off that value coming downwards now. Right? So that here, and the graph a little warped, right? So if you may have gotten a slightly different answer to what I'm getting here. So that looks like about 52, maybe 54, right? So my upper quartile looks like about 54. Yeah, looking like 54, right? I was just double checking something here. Right, we need to find Q1 now, so that's a quarter of your 220. That's going to be 55. Right, so we're reading off this time now at 55. Now, let's see if we can figure out where 55 is now. So this is 44, 48, 52. So this mark is just it's just around here, right? So it's very close to what we just got, right? Very close to what we just got there. So that Q1 there, when you read that off, you're gonna get about 30, it looking like around 32, 33 somewhere there, right? So let's say we put it as 30, 32, right? Because if you notice, this value here is close to this here, right? So let's put it as 32. So the interquartile range will be 4 minus 2 is 2, 5 take away 3 is 2. So the interquartile range I'm getting here is about 22 students, right? And the last part of the question here, they gave you the words positivity written on separate cards. This here picks 2 cards at random without replacement. Find the probability that she picks the letter I, then the letter V, right? So the probability, right, of getting an I followed by a V. So to get the I, let's see how many I's we have initially. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3 I's, right? So therefore, that first probability will be 3 over. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards, right? So therefore, the probability of selecting an I first, right? Now you want to select an I, and then you want to select a V, right? So this is an and, so we're multiplying here now. Now they said with replacement, so you put it back into, you put back the card, right? Even though you selected a card, you put it back. So now we want to select a V. When you look at the diagram, we have only one V, I could see. So this is going to be 1 by 10. So therefore, the probability of getting an I followed by a V is going to be 3 over 10, right? Make sure I only have 3 I's here. Sorry, not 3 over 10. It'll be 3 over 100, right? 10 by 10 is 100. Make sure I'm saying this correct. I is 3 over 10, right? And we want to pick V, which is 1 over 10. Yeah, so we have to multiply the probabilities here. So it'll be 3 over 10 by 1 over 10, which is 100, right? Next question here now, measurement question. So this is question 6. Diagram shows a gold bar in the shape of a trapezoidal prism. The volume, so they gave you the volume, and they want you to find the area, cross-sectional area. So that's this, right? So for any prism, the volume is given by the cross-sectional area multiplied by the length of the prism, right? So therefore, A, cross-sectional area multiplied by the length, which I'm going to take as 31.2, right, is equal to the volume, which is 2886, right? Now, they kind of give you this figure here. I hope people didn't use that figure, right? So A is equal to 2886 over 31.2. So therefore, the cross-sectional area is going to be 92.5, right? This is 92.5 cm squared, right? So that's part 1. Part 2, what do they give us here? We have a cuboid in the shape of a gold, or it's a gold bar, right? And it has the same volume as the trapezoidal prism. So the same volume, so that volume is 2886, right? Volume is 2886 cm cube, right? They want to work out the height of the gold bar. So in this case here, volume is length by width by height. That's the volume of a cuboid. So the height, we don't know what it is. Multiply by 30.6. Multiply by 8.2. Right? And we're going to get 2886. Right? So the volume in this case here is 2886. Right? Now we're going to divide that by 30.6. Multiply by 8.2. Sorry, that's not V, that's H. right? So this here is H, right? So this is going to be 2886 divided by brackets to T. Right, and you're going to get about 11.5 cm. So that's the height that we're looking for here. Next part, they say the trapezoidal gold bar is melted down and all the gold is used to make 6 identical spheres. Calculate for each sphere of gold its radius, right? So all we're going to do here, we're going to find the volume of 1, right? So the volume of 1 sphere, right? And we're going to take the, what was 2886? Yeah, 2886. We're going to divide that by 6, right? Because it told us we melted it down to 6 identical. So 2886 divided by 6 is 481. So this here is the volume of 1 sphere, right? Now they're telling us that the volume of the sphere is given by that formula there. So therefore 4/3 pi r cubed is equal to the 481, right? So therefore, and they told us in the question to take pi as 22/7, right? So this is going to be 4/3 by 22/7 by r cubed is 481. So therefore, r cubed is 481 all over 4/3 multiplied by 22/7. So r cubed is equal to right, and I'm getting 114.78, right? So therefore r is simply going to be the cube root of this. Right, and you're getting about 4.6, right? So r is about 4.86, right? 4.86 cm, right? Let me just double check something here. Yeah, all right, so r is 4.86, that's it, right? Then what else they want here now? They want the surface area of the sphere, right? So surface area is 4 pi r squared. So this is going to be 4 by 22/7, right? Multiplied by the radius squared. Now I just got the radius as being 4.86. So this is 4.86 squared right, and that's let's say about 297, right? Approximately 297 cm squared, right? And the next part here now, they said they want the mass, right, given at the density of the gold. So they give you a formula for density here. So mass is actually equal to density by volume, right? So the density is the 19.3 multiplied by the volume. So the volume of this right, so we're working out for each sphere, right? We're working out for each sphere. So it's going to be 19.3 by the volume of one sphere, which was 481, right? So this is 481. So that is going to be 9283.3, right? But this is grams, right? Because they give us this in grams here, that's grams. So to convert this to kg, right? To convert this to kg, and they want the nearest kg, I'm going to divide by 1,000, right? So that's going to be 9.2 833 kg, and they want me to round this off to the nearest kg, so that's going to be 10 kg, right? So the answer that we should put is 10 kg, because it said to the nearest kilogram, right? Right, so that takes care of question 6. Question 7, they give us a diagram here, and it shows a sequence with regular hexagons. Each regular hexagon is made up of sticks of unit length, right? Now, if you look at the diagrams here, all you're doing when you jump from one diagram to the next, you're adding 2 more. That's what you're doing. You keep adding 2 more hexagons to your diagram, right? Now they want us to draw the 5th one. So what did they draw here for us? Okay. Why they left out this piece here? Right, so this is 1, right? So we're looking to repeat diagram 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm trying to understand why they did this. Right, so this is actually diagram 4 here, right? And if we want to add more, we're just going to add 1 more of this thing here, right? So that's that, this, right? So that's it. This is figure 5 here, or diagram 5, right? Now they give us a table. We have diagrams, we have hexagons, right? We have number sticks, and we have perimeter, right? So what I normally tell students to do is to first work out what is this here, right? Work out the general formula for each of these things here, right? Now the thing is, we drew the 5th diagram, so we should be able to get the number of hexagons from this, right? So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, should be 11, right? So this should be 11 based on our diagram, right? The number of sticks, you can go ahead and check it if you want, right? So that is going to be, now you can count it, or you can just look at the table, right? What's happening here is that when I jump from here to here, I've added 8. When I jump from here to here, also added 8. When I jump from here to here, I'm adding 8. So therefore, I keep adding 8, right? So 9 and 8 is 17. So this is going to be 47. I don't need to check it from the diagram, right? For this one here, we increasing by 2, increasing by 2, increasing by 2, right? And what we saw when I counted it there, we got, right? So this is increasing by 2. For this one here, we increasing by 4, 4, right? We keep increasing by 4, right? Now, these numbers are going to come into play, right, when I work out my general formula. I'm working out a formula for figure N or diagram N, right? So because we see in terms of number of hexagons, the 2 is repeating all the time, my formula must have a 2 in it, right? So this formula should be 2. Yeah, this formula should be 2n plus 1, right? 2n plus 1. That making sense? Yes, that making sense. And the next one here now, we have the 8 repeating for the number of sticks. So therefore, 8 should appear in the formula. In this case, it is going to be 8n plus 7. Is that correct? 8 2s are 16 plus. Yeah, that's looking correct, right? 8n plus 7. That formula looking like it's good. And the next one here, we have a 4. So the 4 must appear in the formula. So this is going to be 4n plus 8. Let's see that making sense. 4. Yeah, that's looking correct there. So I have my formulas for the number of hexagons, number of sticks, and perimeter. Now I can finish this thing here. So we just need to complete this one, right? So what we can do, we can put 2n plus 1 equal 47. So 2n plus 1 equal 47, right? So 2n is equal to 47 minus 1. So 2n is equal to 46, right? So therefore, n is equal to 46 over 2. So therefore, n is equal to 23, right? So this here is going to be 23, right? They put 191 here, but I'm just going to double check our answer. 8 by 23 plus 7. Okay, cool. That working out. So to work out this piece here now, we're just going to plug in 23 in that formula. So 4n plus 8. So it's going to be 4 by 23 plus 8. And we're going to get 100. Right? So this number here is going to be 100. Right? What else we have here now? Last part, Skylar says that she can make one of these figures with a perimeter exactly equal to 105. So perimeter, which one is perimeter? So perimeter formula is 4n plus 8. So this is the perimeter formula, 4n plus 8. And she's saying that she can make a shape that has a perimeter of 1005. So all we need to do is to plug in 1005 here and see if we can get a figure or diagram number based on that. So 4n is equal to 1005 minus 8. So 4n is equal to 997. I'm not looking right though. So n is equal to 997 over 4. Right? And you're going to get a decimal. You're going to get 249.25. Right? So therefore, you're not getting a whole number, right? So therefore, she's incorrect, right? So she's not correct, right? All right, so that takes care of question 7. Question 8 now. We have our next functions again, right? So you want to work out g of 2. So g of x is equal to 5 minus x squared. Right, so g of 2 is equal to 5 minus 2 squared. All right, so that's 5 minus 4, so that's 1. Right, so that's the answer for this part here. Next part, we have an inverse, right? So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to let y equal to 2x minus 1 over 3. Then we're going to interchange. So anywhere we see x, we're going to put y. Anywhere we see y, we put x. So this is going to be x is equal to 3y minus 1 all over 3. Right? Then I'm going to cross multiply. So I'll get 3y minus 1 is equal to 3x. Right? Therefore, 3y is equal to 3x plus 1, and therefore y is equal to 3x plus 1. Oh wait, hold on, I have an error here. That's not, I'm not seeing it. This should have been 2 here. This is 2, this is 2. Right? Yeah, this should have been a 2 here, this is a 2, right? And this is going to be 3x plus 1 over 2. Make sure that's correct. Yeah, so this here is going to be your inverse function, right? So this is 3x plus 1 over 2, right? So now we just want to plug 3 into this. So this is going to be f inverse of 3. Right, so that's 3 3s are 9 and 1 10 over 2. That's going to be 5. Next part, we want f g of x. So f g of x, right? It means that we're going to take the function g and you're going to plug that into f, right? So in this case here, right? Let me just bring the two functions closer. Right, so these are the two functions here, right? So fg of x, so what we're going to do, we're going to say, we're going to plug g into f, right? So this is going to be 2 by 5 minus x squared, right? Minus 1, right? All over 3. right? So this is going to be 5 2s are 10 minus 2x squared, right, minus 1 all over 3, right? We could simplify this if we want to, right? This is going to be minus 2x squared. 10 minus 1 is 9, so this is plus 9 all over 3, right? You could simplify this if you want, and you can get minus 2/3 x squared plus 9 over 3, which is 3, right? So that's FG of x. I would have stopped right here, but if you want to simplify even further, you can do this, right? Let me double check that. We take in g of x and we plug in that into, okay, looks okay to me. Right, now they want us to sketch the function g of x, right? What is g of x again? So g of x is 5 minus x squared. Right, so this is a quadratic, but they want us to sketch it and to label the maximum and the minimum points. Now, let's first of all figure out where does the graph, because they said they want the roots as well, right? So what you need to do here, you need to put 5 minus x squared equal to 0. So we can say that minus x squared is equal to 5, negative 5. So we can say x squared is equal to 5, right? And therefore x is the square root, or plus or minus the square root of 5, right? Now that figure there, that's let's say about 2.2, right? So so the roots are plus or minus 2.2, right? So we know the roots. And what else they want here? They want you to say what is the indicated maximum or the minimum, right? Now, right, so some students may have had some challenges with this, right? So you have several ways you can actually work this, right? So what you can do is to find the axis of symmetry. So the equation is actually minus x squared plus 5. That's essentially what the equation is, right? So to get the axis of symmetry, it's going to be minus b all over 2a, right? That's the formula for the axis of symmetry. In this case here, we have no b, right? So it's going to be 0 over 2 by negative 1, right? So therefore, your y-axis is actually our axis of symmetry, right? Now, to get the maximum point here, right, all we need to do is to plug this 0 into this function here, right? And you're going to get 5. So here's what we're going to label this a little bit, right? 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And we can put in some negative numbers if we want, right? And so forth. Now, our maximum point here is this point here, which we already said is going to be 0, 5. That's the maximum point here. This point is your maximum point. Now, this here, these two numbers, the plus 2.2 and the minus 2.2, that's going to be our roots. So that's going to be about here. This is about 2.2 here. On this side, 2.2, negative 2.2 is here. So when they say sketch, this is what they mean, right? They just want to sketch. We're not using exact values. So this is how this graph here should look, right? That's how the graph should look, right? So the maximum point is going to be 0, 5, and the roots, these are the roots here. These two values that are put in there, plus 2.2 and negative 2.2, 3 marks. They gave us a quadratic graph here, all right? And they said on the grid, draw a tangent to the curve at x equal 1. So this here, all right, this is, since 2018 to now, this is the second time they bring in a question like this, right? So this is something that some students may not have known what to do at all. So a tangent is simply a straight line that is drawn, right, at a point on a curve, right? But it only touches that point here. Now, when students do a question like this, we're going to get a range of answers, right? Now, look at where x equal 1 is. X equal 1 is this point here. So on the curve, this is the point here. So what we need to do, we need to draw a tangent at that point here, Now, like I said, a lot of people, they will have a varying answers for this one here, right? Varying answers, right? Depending on how you draw this thing. So let's see. I feel that need to shift a little bit. Right? So this here is the tangent that I've drawn here. But like I said, students will have a range of answers for this because of how they drew their graph, right? They're going to have a range of answers, right? I can see that happening. Right, that's now I kind of forcing my graph to pass through a certain point here, right? Okay, so that's the tangent, right? That's the tangent that they want, right? For 1 mark, on the grid, they want you to draw a tangent. So it's a straight line passing through this point here only, right? Next thing they said, use the tangent drawn to estimate the gradient of the curve, right? Now, to estimate the gradient of the curve, what we need to do is to find the gradient of that line there, right? So we have, what we could do, right? You can select 2 points on your curve, on that straight line, sorry, if you want, right? Or, what I would have done as well, or could do, right? Now, this is the part that's tricky here, right? You notice how the x-axis is labeled, right? This is where 1 is, right? What makes this question a little difficult here is to figure out what these values are, right? So, let me write this in a different color so you can see. Yeah, so I already see what can happen here with students for this particular question here. So this horizontal distance here, this distance here, right? That is actually 1 1/4 or 1.25. So this here is 1.25, right? The vertical distance, however, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is about 6 point, maybe 6.2. So this length here, right? Because I'm just completing a right angle triangle. This is about 6.2. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 6.2. So the gradient, right, is simply the height of the triangle, which is 6.2, right, divided by the width or the base of the triangle here, which is 1.25. Right, and we get to about 4.96. Right, 4.96. Right, so that's the gradient that I'm kind of getting here, right? And the last part, write down the equation in the form. So we know the gradient. We just worked out the gradient. I got 4.96 approximately, right? The y-intercept, I kind of force my graph to pass through here, right? So the y-intercept is this point here, which is 0 minus 2. So therefore, C is minus 2. So therefore, the equation is y is equal to 4.96. Right, x minus 2, right? That's the equation here. Right, so that takes care of question 8. Question 9, what we have here now? So they gave them, we have v, x, y, and z lie on the circumference of a circle with center O. The diameter is vy. Okay, so this is the center here, right? State a theorem that justifies each of the following. Angle B is 62. Angle B is 62. Well, if you notice something here, this line here is a chord, right? And you're forming an angle at the point X, that's 62. And the ends of the same chord, if I form an angle at Y, that should be 62. So the reason for this here is that angles in the same segment are equal. Right, that's that one. Next one here now, angle C is 124. How you get that? All right, so we form 62 degrees here, and then we try to form, using the same chord, an angle at the center. So the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. So that's what we have to say here. Angle at center is twice the angle at the circumference. All right, so that's the reason for that one. And then part C, OVW is 90. What is OVW? OVW, that's this angle here. They're telling us that's 90. Well, yeah, that makes sense, right? The reason for that there is that the angle between a tangent, because UW is a tangent, so the angle between a tangent and a radius is 90, right? So next part now, we have to calculate some angles here. We want A, we want D, and we want E. So what is angle E? Where is E? All right. Right, so angle E, right, as this angle here, right, has to be equal to 62 degrees as well. This angle here has to be 62 degrees. And the reason for that is that the angle between a tangent and a chord is equal to the angle in the alternate segment. That's what you have to see. So this one here is 62 degrees, right? And the reason is that the angle between a tangent, so this is your tangent here, right? This is your chord, right? This is your chord here, right? So that angle there is A. But that angle should be equal to the angle in the alternate segment, which in this case is 62. So A has to be equal to 62, right? The next one, we want angle D. So where is angle D now? Angle D is this angle here. Well, that is going to be easy because you have an isosceles triangle here. And you know that this was 124 degrees. So therefore, to work that out, we have to take 180 minus 124 and divide by 2, right? So angle D is 180 minus 124 divided by 2. Right? So using the fact that that triangle there is isosceles, 180 minus 124 divided by 2, you're going to get 28. Right? So this angle here is 28 degrees. Right? What else we want now? So we need to get this angle here now. Right? This is E. What are we going to do here now? All right, we can do something else here. Okay, so I was trying to find an easier way, but I'm not seeing an easier way. So this one is a multi-step here, right? So here's what's happening here. I'm going to use the fact that this angle here is 90. So therefore, what I can do, I can work out this green angle here, right? So that green angle there is going to be 90 minus 18, right? So 90 you're going to get 72, right? Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make use of that angle in the alternate segment again. So again, you have a tangent. This is your tangent here. This here is a chord. So you're making an angle of 72 degrees. So therefore, this whole angle here has to be 72 degrees, right? Now, we just worked out D. We got, what you got for D? 28. We got 28 for D, right? Yeah, we got 28 for D, right? So this angle is 28. So therefore, to get angle E, it is simply going to be 72 minus 28, right? And you're going to get 44, right? So this angle here has to be 44 degrees, right? So this question required a little thinking there. Right? So that's question 9, part E, we're working out here. Next part now, the diagram shows a quadrilateral PQRS, right? And we have two triangles, PQS and QRS. Calculate the length QR. So to calculate this length QR here, we're going to use our cosine rule. So QR squared is equal to 16 squared plus 18 squared minus, make a little space here. Yeah, minus 2 by 16 by 18 by cosine 25. Right? So QR squared is equal to 16 squared, that's 256, plus 18 squared, that's 324, minus 2 by 16 by 18 by cosine 25, that's 522. So therefore QR squared is 58. So therefore QR is equal to the square root of 58. That was about 7.6, right? 7.6 meters, right? Let me just double check this answer here. Yeah, 7.6, right? So that's the length QR. That's what we worked out here. The next thing we want is the bearing of P from S is 205. The bearing of P from S. Right, so the bearing of P from S. Right, so this is the north line. Something. Bearing of P from S is 205, right? Let's see what they're talking about here. Oh, okay, I now understand, right? So here's what's happening here. So this is the point S here, right? So the bearing of P from S is 205. So this whole angle here, right, is 205. That whole angle there is 205. So that means you can work out this little piece here, right? That little piece there is, now I don't know if we need it yet, right? But I'll work it out either way. So 205 minus 72 plus 25, and you're going to get 108. So this angle here is 108 degrees, right? Now let's see what they're looking for here now. They want the bearing of R from S, right? The bearing of R from S, right? So this is S again, and we want the bearing of R from S. Well, that's what we just worked out, right? That's what we just worked out. This small little piece here is 108. So this answer is going to be 108 degrees, right? This answer here is 108 degrees. And the next part, they want the bearing of S from P. Right, so the bearing of S from P. So what's happening here now, you're going to draw your north line here, right? And you want the bearing of S from P. This is where S is, so we want to work out this angle here, right? Now that's easy to calculate. What you could do, right? You can work out this angle here, right? So this blue angle here will be 360 minus 205. This here is 360 minus 205, right? That's 155, right? And all we're going to do now, because north lines are parallel, to work out this angle here, which is the bearing that we want, it's going to be 180 minus 155. and that's 25 degrees, right? So this answer here, or that bearing, is going to be 25 degrees, right? So this here is 25 degrees, right? All right, next part, number 10, last question on the paper, right? They said the determinant of the matrix is 24, find the value of V. So determinant is 24, so that means that 6 multiplied by minus V, right, minus 2V multiplied by minus 5 is equal to 24, right? So this is going to be minus 6V minus 2V by minus 5 is going to give you minus 10. V is equal to 24, right? So this is the same as saying minus 6 plus 10, right? Minus 6 plus 10 is going to give us 4V. So therefore 4V is 24. So V is 24 over 4. So therefore V is equal to 6, right? So V is equal to 6. Now, they give us two matrices here and they want us to work out the product LM. So this is 9, 5, 3, 2 multiplied by 2 minus 4. Right, so we need to go row by column, right? So this row by this column here. So that's going to be 9 2s are 18, right? So 18 minus 20 is going to be minus 2. 9 2s are 18. Yeah. Then we have to take this row and multiply by this column here. So that's 3 2s are 6. And 6 plus minus 6, you're going to get 0. Right? So that's the matrix product here that we're going to get. Negative 2 and 0. Right? Right? 9, 5, 3, 2. That's L. Right? And they want the inverse of L. So the first thing we need to do, we need to work out the determinant of L. So the determinant of L is going to be 9 by 2, right, minus 5 by 3. So this is 9 2s are 18 minus 15. So that's going to be 3, right? So the inverse of this matrix is going to be 1 over the determinant, which is 1/3, right? And we're going to find the adjoint of the matrix. So you swap the 2 on the 9 and you put a minus sign here and a minus sign here, right? So you can leave your answer like this if you want, or you can multiply it out, in which case you'll get 2/3, you get minus 5 over 3, and you're going to get minus 1, and you're going to get 3 here, right? So any one of them should be able to get you the mark, right? And the last thing here, we have a vector PQ, right? If the point P is minus 2, 3, determine the coordinates of Q, right? So here's what's happening here. We have a point P, right? We go into a point Q. So you're going 5 across and 4 down. So you're going 5 this way, and then you're going 4 down here, right? Based on the vector they gave me here, right? So this is Q, right? So it's 5 across and 4 down, right? Now the coordinates of P is minus 2, 3. So this here is minus 2, 3, right? So think about it. If we go in 5 units this way, right, and we want to work out the coordinates of Q, you need to add 5. So minus 2 plus 5, you're going to get positive 3. So that's the X coordinate. So when we go here, right, you're going to end up at positive 3. And then we have to go down 4. So we're going to take this number here, that's 3, and you go down 4. So this is going to give you minus 1, right? Right? So Q is going to be 3 minus 1, right? Essentially what you're doing, you're taking the point P, which is minus 2, 3, and you have to add the vector, right? You're adding the 5 minus 4, in which case you'll get minus 2 plus 5, that's 3, and 3 minus 4 is minus 1, right? Which is the same as this coordinate here. And the last part of this thing here, in a pentagon, we have a pentagon here, right? And they told us some things here. So AB, right? So DC is parallel to, OA is parallel to DC, AB is parallel to OD, and they give us some information. So they want to know what is AD. So that vector here is going to be this guy here, right? They want this vector here. Now let's see what information they have here. They said OD is 2AB. So if OD is 2AB, it means that this here is going to be 2B. And they said OA is 2 times DC. All right, OA is 2 times DC. So therefore, DC is going to be a half E. Right? So all I'm doing is taking the information that they gave me and I'm putting it on the diagram. So if I want to get a vector AD, so the vector AD is simply going to be AO plus OD, right? AO in this case here is negative A plus OD, which is 2B. So that's it. That's the answer for AD. Next thing we want BC. So the vector BC is going to be this vector here. So to get BC, right, we have a long route there we can use. So to get BC, we can go from B to A, then from A to O, right, then O to D, right, and then from D to C. Right, this is a possible route, looking long, but you can do that. So beta A is going to be negative B plus OA, sorry, plus AO, which is negative A, plus OD, which is 2B, right? And we have DC, which is a half A, right? So let's add up all the A's now. So if we add up the A's, you're going to get minus A plus a half. That's going to give you minus a half A, right? When we add up the B's now, we have minus B plus 2B, and you're going to get B. Right? That making sense? Yeah, looking correct. Yeah, that's looking correct. Right? So that's the vector BC. And the last part now, they said state the conclusion about AD, the modulus of AB, that can be drawn from your responses. Right? So the vector AD, right, is minus A plus 2B. Right? And the vector BC is minus a half A plus B. Right? Now, they're talking about the lengths of the vectors here, right? But if we look at the two vectors here, you're going to realize that, wait a minute, these two vectors are parallel, right? These two vectors are actually parallel, right? Now, the vector AD, check this. AD, right, which is a longer vector, right? If I were to see if there's a relationship between them, I can write that as KBC. So AD is minus A plus 2B, right? And that's equal to K multiplied by BC, which is negative a half A plus B, right? So now we need to figure out what that K is here, right? What that K is. So if I put K equal to 2, right? Then the equation makes sense, right? So what that means is that AD, the vector AD is equal to 2 times the vector BC, right? That's what we say, right? Now the question said what conclusion can be drawn about the lengths. So if this is true for the vectors themselves, we can say that the length of AD is equal to 2 times the length of BC, right? That's what we could say. So in terms of state a conclusion, this is our conclusion here, right? The vector AD is 2 times the length BC. That's what we're saying basically. Right? Let me go back to the diagram and just check something. Yeah, that's basically what we say. Right? Alright guys, so that brings us to the end of the solutions for the 2022. Right? Hope it was okay for you guys. Right? There was one or two tricky questions. Right? But that's basically it, guys, right? Remember to hit like and subscribe. Take care, everybody.